This week, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. It's just me and Aaron again today. We are the guests, and we are the hosts. We are the podcast, Two Crazy Scoops. Oh, man, Aaron, or Ao, we are back. It feels like it's been forever.
It's been 2 weeks.
That's a very long time in podcast world. And now you're zoomed in on your face.
I just cut the resolution down that way, just in case.
That actually, it helps your appearance a little bit, I got to tell you.
I know, it's blurrier. You can't see all my facial imperfections.
So, we want to start off the episode by plugging our Instagram.
Yes. So, certain things that we do on our podcast do have a visual element to it. And while we do try our best to obviously choose topics and things that don't require you to see it, the Instagram is an added bonus. So if you can actually see what we see, then it's even funnier. So, but at the same time, with that being said, we want you to know that you don't have to check out the Instagram.
Oh,
but
no,
if you want,
by all means.
But if you want, it is Two Crazy Scoops Podcast on Instagram. That's TWO Crazy Scoops. And yeah, you can check out every episode is on there. And Tino does an amazing job with it. Everything is crisp and perfect.
And plagiarized. Plagiarized just as it should be.
Well, yeah.
I'm not sure the efficacy of copying videos off YouTube and putting little clips on there, but I just do it anyways until someone sues us.
Yeah, right, exactly. So once we get sued, then we'll stop, I guess. But until then, we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
So now, this is a No Crazy Scoops podcast now.
Right, exactly. And by the way, one last thing I was gonna say is, if you do check us out on Instagram, if you want to leave us a comment or DM us, you can. And if you want us to talk about a certain topic, feel free to leave us a message. We will actually do it.
As we will do at the end of this episode.
As we're going to do later on, yeah. We will actually comment on some of the comments. So feel free to contact us there if you want us to say anything. Or if you want us to give you a shout out, we can do that too.
A shout out.
Yeah, exactly.
Whole half hour of just shout outs. Okay, and so at this wants us to shout them out.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we've all been waiting for. Well, did you have any advice for this week, Aaron?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. My advice for the week is don't drink and drive.
Oh my God.
I had a pretty harrowing experience with that as of recent. So, I am working a job to help supplement my income during this pandemic season. Or year. Or week. What is it, 2 weeks already?
2 weeks into what?
I don't know. They're like, we're a year into the 2 weeks of lockdown. I don't know. It's just a funny meme.
Oh.
Anyways, I have to drive this big truck, right? And so I'm driving down the street. And this lady clips the back end of this giant truck and like spins out. And then we both pull over and she's like, "Don't call anyone. You can just leave. It's okay." And I was like, I really don't think I should leave. And she's like, no, it's fine. Nothing happened to your truck. I just hit the back end of it. It's totally fine. I was like, I really don't think I should leave. So I called somebody. And as I'm talking to them, like, she's just trying to put her hood back on her car. And, like, she's holding her phone in one hand, looking around, and I was like, oh, no, this lady. And as I'm on the phone, they're like, why don't you just take some pictures? And as I'm going to take picture or a video, I was trying to take video, she hops in her car and drives into, like, traffic and almost gets hit again. And they stop, thankfully, and she just, like, peels out.
Wow. So did you get her information or her...
Well, a piece of her car got stuck into a pressure washer tire wheel. Or it's some kind of gas-powered thing that we have on the truck. It got stuck in there, and in there it has all of like the information for what part it is. And I don't know if I can find out what car it was, but I did make a 911 call just in case. So like, because I think she wanted me to drive off, and then I would have looked like I hit her, and then took
Yeah,
off.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
So
did you get it? Well, were you able to get a picture of her license plate?
I tried, but I was like kind of in shock also. Not that anything happened to me, because it's a pretty big truck. It was like I hit a little bump. Like I've hit speed bumps that gave me more whiplash than this.
Okay.
So as I pulled out my phone, though, I was like trying to take a video, and I guess you're supposed to hold the picture button now. I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to do it, and she just drove off.
Well, a picture would have been fine. You didn't need a video, just a
I know,
picture.
but I was like, oh, what am I doing? What happened? Oh my gosh, what's going on? And then she just got away.
Well, I guess if you got a piece of her car, I guess you can just yeah. I've seen plenty of episodes of CSI. I'm sure they can track her down with a piece of her car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either that, or you could just find a car that has this hood or the front hood just ripped off.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. Well, you did a smart thing, because when you're driving a business vehicle, you always want to do things 100%. If it was your personal vehicle, then
Drive
maybe,
off,
whatever.
Just, go home.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
fine.
It's whatever. But especially if there was no damage done. But when it's a business vehicle, it's like you want to cover yourself just in case.
Yeah. So that was interesting. That's been my week, on top of other fun things.
So I think I did think of some advice. It's not quite as dramatic as yours, but it's still some advice nevertheless, especially for this time. So what I have learned is that it's always a good idea when you're on any type of conference call, whether it's Zoom or video, any type of video calling. Once you finish the call, make sure that you have completely disconnected before saying anything. Because
Oh, he froze. Aaron froze. His internet connection said it wasn't stable as we began, so we'll continue the instability here on Two Crazy Scoops with your hosts, Antino. I think he may have done something embarrassing on Zoom and talked to somebody. Oh, we're waiting and waiting in silence. Oh, you're back.
I've been talking for 5 minutes.
Hey, so
Why
am I.
didn't you say anything?
No, I'm singing to the audience here while you're frozen.
Oh.
I was
okay.
like, Aaron's frozen. Aaron's frozen.
Oh, okay. I'm just going on and on. Well, it's kind of good because you probably would have had to edit some of that out. Now I can think of a cleaner way of saying what I was going to say. So what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Conference call, right?
Make sure it's shut off completely.
Yeah, so just because you hit leave or disconnect, there may be a delay in the time that you hit that button from the time the call actually drops. So you need to make sure that it's completely disconnected, because at work earlier this week, we were on like a 4-way call. So it was 4 of us on this call, right? It wasn't Zoom, it was Slack, but same difference. And what happened was, one of the people who was talking, they had a big piece of lettuce stuck in their teeth. And so every time they talk, you'd see it. And it was distracting, yes, but but it was like, whatever. It's not everyone has had food stuck in their teeth, right? Well, as soon as this person, who did not work for the company he didn't work for the company. It was a client. So as soon as we got done with the call, everyone said, okay, goodbye, everybody. And everyone kind of, I guess, hit disconnect or whatever. But before everyone was fully disconnected, I heard one of my coworkers go, did you see that big old piece of lettuce in her teeth? And then finally it disconnected.
Oh, man.
And I was cracking up. I was like, y'all couldn't even wait for it to disconnect first? Make sure.
Well,
so it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like it was a bad thing, but potentially it could have been bad.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing, though, is because you're always blissfully unaware when you do it. It's just everyone else that knows.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we were on a call and someone said something pretty crazy, and we were just
Oh
like
yeah.
sitting there, and
Yeah.
everyone's just trying to keep a straight face. We're just like, you could see people are like biting their tongues or whatever they're trying to do
I
to
know.
keep
I
a
know.
straight
Yeah.
face.
I was laughing because I was like, you know what? You do have a point. I wouldn't have said it out loud, but you do have a point.
Yeah, I think I turned off my camera because I was just like, I can't right now. I can't.
I was like, yeah.
I can't keep it together, man.
I was like, I feel your pain, but we all heard you. Oh man, hilarious.
Yeah. So let me see. The next topic I wanted to talk about, Aaron, was Mars, the planet.
Oh yes.
Have you seen anything about what they're doing with Mars, the rovers and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, they just sent a new one there. It landed safely or got whatever information that they were supposed to get back from it. I haven't read too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there's like these awesome 4K. It's like panoramic photos, but it looks like a video because it's panning through it, and it's just is so crazy how it looks, like the planet itself. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was. You know, in fact, I didn't really keep up with what was going on, but the only reason I even knew about it was because one of the YouTubers who I like to watch, a tech YouTuber, he talked about it and shared some stills from it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It is kind of funny though, because like everyone wants to move to Mars, but I was like thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure that the whole journey to Mars is going to be funded by Jeff Bezos, and then he's just going to move there and become like an Amazon god on Mars.
I mean, that's possible. Anything that, man tries to do, it usually ends up, sucking in the end. But let me see, how long would it take to get to Mars?
I think it's 5 years. It's just funny because everyone's like, oh, we're going to move to Mars. That's what we're going to do next. We're all moving to Mars. We're going to live on Mars, guys. Hey, guys, guess what? We're moving to Mars. That's where it's going to be at. Everything's going to be better. And if we find life on Mars, we're not going to be racist towards it. I swear. I promise.
Well, I think it depends. So I'm looking at this article, and it's saying it took 7 months for NASA's Perseverance rover to reach the red planet.
Oh, then I'm wrong.
Well, no. Not necessarily, because I don't know if humans could travel the same speed. I don't know how fast this thing was going, but and I don't know if they would want humans to travel that fast through space.
What would happen?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's only one way
I mean,
to find out.
I know. I'm imagining it probably wouldn't be comfortable, but I don't know. It says the trip takes around 7 months, a bit longer than astronauts currently stay on the International Space Station.
Oh, yeah, because without gravity and stuff, don't you start to get a little wonky?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting. I have to look into that. Because it says that the spacecraft departs Earth at a speed of 24,600 miles per hour. So yeah, I'm imagining it's traveling at that speed.
Well, how fast do they take to get to the space station up there? How fast are they going? Because you got to go pretty fast to get jetted up to space.
Just to get out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's interesting. I think I would be too afraid. I would definitely not want to be one of the first. That's for sure.
No way, man. I ain't going to Mars. What the heck?
I'm like, y'all
I've
go
got
ahead.
everything I need down here until they all move out and blow us up or something. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, we'll probably destroy the Earth, and we won't have a choice but to go to Mars.
Well, the funny thing is like if this was like their kind of a universe and you could go to Mars, I think like everyone would live there and forget about Earth, and then they'd like rediscover Earth later on, and they'd be like, "Oh,
Right.
this is better planet, guys!"
Right, exactly.
And it would just be this like jumping back and forth of like
Right.
destroying one planet, moving back to the other.
I could see that because you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone. So I could see that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thought though, because it's just, I don't know. It's funny, like it's really interesting to me to watch those videos, but then there's always like scientists like, oh yeah, we're gonna go live on Mars and it's gonna be great, and it's like,
Even if that does happen, it's still not. It still wouldn't be ideal.
Yeah, even if you
And
could make
for
the conditions, though.
even if you could, it still wouldn't be perfect.
And the thing is like we're isolated. We've been isolated a lot this past year here, and you see how it affects yourself and a lot of other people. And everyone kind of deals with it differently. I don't know how you would like live in a. Well, I mean, people did it before in smaller cities and stuff like that. I don't know. It just seems really weird.
Yeah,
And then what do you
yeah.
do about money?
Well, I'm assuming if you go, you have everything you need. They could care less about money.
It was like the first hobo on Mars. That's what I'm striving to be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just kind of funny though because it's like you're discover. If you were to follow that line of reasoning and you were to rediscover it, they'd have to do like laws and money, and it just wouldn't make any sense because they don't have anything to base it on.
Well, did you ever see that movie, The Martian?
Yeah, with Matt Damon.
Yeah. So he could care less about money, but he ran into some other issues though.
I forget
And he
what
ended
the
up
plot was.
he ended up being there by himself. It's an interesting movie, but yeah, he ended up being there by himself and trying to survive, and he had to plant food and stuff. And yeah, like I said, it's not ideal conditions at all. So I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's just a funny line of reasoning, I think, because it's like, I don't know. It's taking it too far. It's like, why don't you just stay here and make things good?
Exactly.
But yeah, that was one of the topics I wanted to talk about. Let me see. Oh my goodness, I think something's playing. I should. Okay, good. That sounds off. Okay, Aaron. So I came across. Oh, so you know how I have that? I have this search for interesting musical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I have one that I want to show you, and we can describe it, and then I'll put a clip of it on there. So there is this artist named IMOGEN Heap, and I don't know exactly how to pronounce
Oh
it.
yeah,
Have you seen
yeah,
it before?
yeah. I thought it was like Emojin Heap
That's what
or
I thought
something like
too, but
that.
like she's British, so it's like probably like it's Emogan.
Oh, okay. I never knew how to pronounce
Neither
it,
do
but
I haven't heard it.
there's two songs of hers. I'm assuming it's just a solo artist. I think it's a woman.
Yes.
Or I wasn't sure if it was just a woman or a band with her. I wasn't sure. But there's two songs by her that I kind of that I can tolerate to listen to.
Uh-huh.
But she has a decent fan following. But
Do you
two
know
songs.
anything about her?
No, the only reason I know those songs is because they were sampled by some other artists, and so
Oh.
when I would always the nerd part of me likes to look at the notes and see who they sampled it from, and then I go back and listen to the original song, and so two artists sampled one of her songs or a couple of her songs, and so I went back and heard the originals, and that's how I heard of her.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of or some of her videos when she's like doing interviews and stuff. And it's kind of funny because she's like, well, I am a singer, but this is mostly what people know me for. And I'll show you. So it's kind of funny that you found her out as a singer and not this thing that...
Yeah, her voice is very
It's almost like
interesting, but yeah.
Bjork.
Yes. That's exactly, yes. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Okay, let's see. So I'm going to have to start this video at the right time. And let me see if I put that. But, okay, so she creates music with gloves. So let me know if you can hear this.
Song, and the stream was about 3 in the afternoon, and I started.
I forget
with my right hand, and then
where I was supposed to...
I just couldn't figure out how to get out of this space. I kind of panicked, and then as I was
A few moments later.
I know, seriously.
by moving
Okay,
and of course,
so normally when you're listening to electronic music, okay, you have like a board, a soundboard, and you can pan the sound to the right or to the left, correct?
somebody make music with gloves. It was just like I'd never seen that before.
Okay.
So I didn't have to
So her gloves do that kind of stuff.
moments of kind of realization that actually was an amazing
Okay.
place that I could just improvise. And I
Well, I'm not gonna play this song, but I'll just show her showing you how she makes it. So she's
I
moving.
don't. I don't know if you. I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, just like our listeners. Great.
Exactly. What were you doing?
Okay. Here we go. You are sharing your screen.
Okay.
Okay, so you see the gloves?
Yes.
So she's using the gloves kind of like a soundboard.
Change between different sounds with the pitch.
But as she moves them, it creates a different
When I finally remembered
effect
what
and
it was
stuff.
I had to do, because the gloves had given me this space. And actually all I needed to do was play the drums.
So she's moving her hands and is making those drum sounds. So what you can do with it is loop it like you would with a guitar pedal, and you can create music that way.
That is pretty cool.
So I'll play a small portion. I mean, obviously she sounds like Bjork and her voice. I mean, some people may not like the music that she makes, but hey.
I'm trying, will somebody make
So she made all of those like background noises by clapping her hands, and she has her own voice like that she's backtracking. But as she moves her hands, it creates the music.
That's pretty cool.
You're supposed to be
you should
blown
definitely-
away, Aaron. This is like the greatest thing in the world.
Well, I would have been if you hadn't showed me people making music with barcodes and stuff. Then I would have been amazed. But that kind of ruined it. Now I expect people to be able to make music with anything.
Anything. But she's making it with her hands. The funny thing is, though, is like you'll find artists or bands that are like kind of I don't want to call it gimmicky, but that's kind of like one thing that they do, and then it's kind of hard to like move them out of that box. So it's kind of hard to like show people that stuff because it's like, oh, this is really cool, but it's like cool for one song and then you're over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. You definitely have to put a clip on that on the YouTube. So I said on the YouTube. I'm not really that old. You should put a clip of that on Instagram so people can see that. They would appreciate it.
I will. I definitely will.
I sound like my grandma. On the YouTube, I saw this. I'm like, what did you see on the YouTube, Grandma? Oh, God.
Okay, and I've got, let's see. Oh, man, that was really funny. I had the thing on a different screen. I think I was recording. That would have been terrible. Anyways. Okay, I've got a news article here. Oh, and also one of our listeners reached out to me and was like, how come you didn't ask me about the snowstorm that I'm living through? And I was like, I don't really think that's appropriate to like call you up and be like, hey, I know you're going through a personal tragedy. Can we talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah, this would make a great episode. Tell us how terrible you and everyone around you is doing.
I know. It's like people can't get water. Oh, I don't know what to joke about this.
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
What else do you not have access to? It's like no. But with all due respect, it's just a matter of if someone wants to talk about an experience that they're having with current news, we will talk about it. But as a general rule, you don't necessarily want to just
reach out to people.
Yeah, that's just just seems kind of weird.
I heard you got cancer. How's that been feeling?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like we don't want to reach out to people and use it as a segment for a podcast. But if you do want to volunteer and share your near-death experience, we will gladly listen to it.
Yeah, because that's pretty interesting. I mean, it's not interesting, but the experience of it all sometimes is interesting. Like you lived through Sandy, right?
Yep.
What was that like for you?
It was interesting. It's so funny. What's so weird about Sandy is that,
Hurricane Sandy in 2012, which affected the East Coast.
Yeah, and I was living in Connecticut at the time. What's crazy about Sandy is that it was like where I live, it basically just knocked down some trees and there were branches and stuff thrown all over the place. But just 10 minutes from me in another city of Fairfield, Connecticut, right off the Long Island Sound, so right off the water. Some of the houses that were near the edge got washed out into the water, got like washed out into the Sound. And I remember, so I'm in Connecticut, but if you in Jersey, which again, New York, Jersey, Connecticut, they're all right next to each other. It would probably take me a little over an hour to get to Jersey if I wanted to. And there was a roller coaster, and I forgot the name of the park that it's in, but it's right on the water, and it was completely immersed under the water. Mm. And so what's so weird about that storm is that depending on where you were at, you either got it like really bad or you just had it, we definitely lost power, but there was one point, and I won't go on about this for that long, but
no, you can. I want to talk about it since people want to hear about tragedies.
Well, yeah, no, right. Well, what was eerie is that I remember it had got really quiet. And if you've ever seen like any of the movies, if you haven't experienced this, at least in the movies, you know how they talk about like the quiet or the eye of the storm or the quietness. Mm-hmm. There was that one point where it got super quiet. The power was out too. And so I went outside and just looked up at the sky, and it was like very gray and super quiet. Like you couldn't hear, like normally when you walk outside, you can hear crickets chirping, or you can hear ambient sounds, birds chirping, cars driving by. There's something you hear. But for the first time, I think in my life, I went outside and I heard nothing. No, not a bird, not a bug, another person. It was nothing. It was completely silent, and it was so eerie. It was so eerie, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then about a minute later, the wind started to pick up really bad. And so I, of course, went back in. And as I was going back in, what happened was the wind. So, and I'm talking like literally in the course of a minute, because I was only outside for a minute. The house next door, the shingles, the wind blew the shingles off like pieces of the shingles off the roof. And it started flying through the air, and they started hitting the windows to my house. And if you can imagine shingles that have broken off of a roof flying through the air, it's almost like someone's throwing like, ninja stars at you. Because if you get hit by one of those, you're seriously going to be injured. Uh-huh. Like I said, they were breaking the glass. Fortunately, it was a double pane window, so it was breaking the outside windows.
Oh, okay.
But still, it was like shingles flying through the air, all types of debris flying around, and it caused a lot of damage. It knocked down like a lot of trees, and when I finally did get, after it passed and I finally got a chance to go out, because part of my job at that time was to do inspections for a bank and for different properties that the bank owned. And after this storm, it was ridiculous because I had to go all over the place, and I had so much work at that time. And some of it required that I even went downtown because, as in New York City, because certain parts of New York, the inspectors couldn't get over there. And so they were just trying to get anyone who they could to go out and, examine the properties and take pictures and stuff. So It was a mess. Yeah, it was really strange. Like I said, some areas were way worse than others, just depending on where you were. If you were near the water, you got it really bad. Mm-hmm. Bridgeport obviously is right there, like I said, on the Long Island Sound, which it's kind of hard to picture it if you don't know what that is, but if you just Google it, you can see it. But, so we're right there off the water. So, but if you go to the other side of Long Island, where you don't have a sound, but instead it's just the ocean, then they got hit much worse, Mm-hmm. So it just depends on where you're at, but it was a mess. And needless to say, one of the last years that I was there, after that, I was like, I think 2 years after Sandy, I finally, because there was some other crazy weather patterns that happened.
Well, there was the nor'easter right after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And to me, those were all signs like, Aaron, you do not need to be here. Why? There's no reason.
And did you have gas where you were at?
Yeah, because we ate a lot of Mexican.
Oh, nice.
So.
There you go.
Let me see. Yeah, it was a gas heater. Yeah. Very old house.
No. I mean, did you actually like? Could you get gas for your car?
Oh. No, well, see, no, because there was a gas station at the corner of where I lived, and they were gone. They had got completely emptied out. There was a station that, and I didn't go to it, but some other friends had to go to that station and stand in long lines to get gas for the generator. So we had a generator, but I wasn't the one going to the gas station to get the gas. So I didn't actually see the lines myself. But yeah, people were lined up all around to get gas for the generator. So we had a generator, and the generator was only plugged up to I think the refrigerator, and if you had to charge up your phone or something, we would plug up our phones to charge that up. And that was it. That was it. And even the refrigerator didn't stay on all the time. You ran it for a couple of hours, and then you turned it off or unplugged it.
And what'd you do
And
for
then
water?
we had we had stocked up on water ahead of time. So kind of similar to what we experienced last year with the pandemic, how everyone does their panic buying. So that's what happened. That's what happened too. When they were talking about the storm coming, everyone went and started panic buying. So we had plenty of water. We already stocked a lot of water anyway, just regularly. But when that was coming, we stockpiled a lot of water. And I also had a water distiller, which I wish I still brought with me, but because that's very useful to have. But I had a distiller, which basically, can purify any water that you have access to. And so I had one of those. So that was more of a backup in case we ever needed it. But yeah, so
That's why I think it's interesting though, is because we didn't know each other at the time, but I lived pretty close to you then
yeah,
because we both
yeah.
like experienced it. But the interesting thing for me was like how immense Manhattan is and how affluent it is. And it's pretty much like what you would think of as a kingdom or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of rich people that live there. And the power was completely kicked off on the south, or where I was at, on the south side of it. I could look over, because I lived in Brooklyn, I could look over at the city, and all it had was floodlights on the buildings. It looked like so eerie.
Oh, dude, I just remembered the subway.
The subways.
People
Yeah.
got stuck in the subway because of the power. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Have you ever been stuck in a subway?
Mm-mm.
I was riding
No.
one. It wasn't during any kind of storm, but they just shut it off, and you have to walk through the tunnels all the way to an exit.
Oh, really?
I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And then we got up because I thought there was an earthquake or something. I don't know what. I got up there and everyone was fine. Like no one was freaked out. They were all like, oh, this happens all the time. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because I was
Yeah,
by
no,
myself going to a dental appointment when that happened.
No, I never experienced that. That's kind of crazy though. But no,
Yeah.
I never had that experience of it shutting down while being on it.
Yeah. But it was just interesting because like after we had got the clearance to like walk outside again, because there was a lot of like branches that were falling and stuff, which is a pretty dangerous thing in Central Park or in any part in New York with branches falling on you. But once they said we could go outside, then I just went outside and I walked across the bridge at night, and like half of the bridge had lights on it, and the other half, the Manhattan side, was just pitch black. So I walked all the way down, and the water had like flooded a lot of bottoms of those buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
so interesting how crippled it can get in like a matter of seconds. Not seconds,
yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, because Manhattan is practically, I mean, it's an island. And so, I mean, if the water level raises just a few feet, I mean,
It's over.
you're talking a lot of damage. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a ton of damage. Like I said, that in that park, and I can't think of the name of it. I have to look it up. But like I said, they had roller coasters and all that stuff there, and it was all it was completely submerged, completely.
Wow.
Because I remember seeing pictures of it. I was like, what? So it was, yeah, dude.
And then as
That was
regards
crazy.
the gas, where we still had power and everything was pretty fine. It's just we couldn't make calls because of our cell phones. The cell phone service had shut off or something.
Mm-hmm.
But as regards gas, I remember we used to go. Well, I was in the Bronx a lot too, and we would go and see people getting gas, and it was just lines and lines. People would wait for days just to get gas. And I know some of our friends would drive to Connecticut just to get gas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it was craziness.
Yeah, I heard it was better. It was a lot better in Connecticut than it was in New York, which makes sense.
Well, it wasn't so bad where I was. It was just like you said, like just across the way, you could see how crazy it was. And then
Yeah.
it didn't even hit me how, like, I mean, I was 19 and I didn't really process a lot of things correctly, I guess. But when I ended up moving back to Arizona, I was just like flipping through channels, and it was the Weather Channel, and showed all the damage it did to New Jersey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it like hit me right then and there. I was like, oh my goodness, like this was pretty serious. But I think I always try to be positive whenever I'm going through anything. So that positivity sometimes makes me lose focus on what actually is going on.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I was trying to look up the name of that roller coaster, and I can't find it. Sandy submerged coaster finally replaced. It took them 5 years to replace that roller coaster.
Wow.
Casino Pier. That was the name of the park. Casino Pier.
Hmm.
Let's see. Jersey Shore. Anyway, I can't think of it. But the pictures, if you look it up online and just Google, roller coaster underwater during Sandy, you'll see it. It was ridiculous.
And those things are tall too, I would imagine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a roller coaster, and it was underwater. I had been there before, so I was like, it was hard for me to picture like how the water could get that high. But yeah, you're talking islands, really. So crazy, dude. I forgot all about that experience. You just reminded me of that. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's funny because, like, again, during the nor'easter, I walked from where I lived to Central Park just by myself again. And then it was like snowy and the bridge was frozen. I was like slipping on the bridge as I was going down. And then I walked, and I was just walking and seeing all the shops and the snow and everything. And then when I got there, I just sat down on this bench. And there's like one of my favorite parts of the park, which is like it has a pond where they put like sailboats during the like little remote control ones during the springtime. And I'm just like sitting there, and I look over, and a friend of mine is with his mom who came to visit, and they were like, "Hey, you want to get pizza?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so we went to this place called Lombardi's, and it was really good. But it was funny because all the kids, well, by the time I had gotten there, the sun was out, and all these kids were sledding down the hills there. But it was like so many children that they were all running into each other. Like, it was just dogpiling all at the bottom, and more children were just coming, and other children were, like, jumping up and running back up, and there was just, like, this cycle of them just slamming into each other.
Yeah.
And then we got on the train, and there was someone with skis on it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But that's all to say that this is a city that's, quote-unquote, prepared for these things. That's why when that happened in Texas, I was like, I don't know if this is like appropriate either, because they're not even prepared for it. And a lot of those people don't really, I think it's a lot worse then.
Yeah, and some people are dealing with like, their pipes bursting and stuff like that, which, growing up in Michigan, we never really had that. I'm not going to say we never had the issue happen, but obviously a lot of the buildings were built with the idea of knowing that during the winter it gets freezing cold. So it wasn't a regular thing, unless, I think the only time that would happen is if it was an abandoned house and the water didn't run, then you'd have pipes bursting and stuff, but it wasn't typical. Whereas, obviously in Texas, they weren't prepared for that. And so they had pipes freezing and bursting. In fact, where I used to work at here, actually, we used to have our pipes freeze. But building is extremely old, though. It's extremely old. And so that particular building is not set up for that. But most modern buildings have.
Yeah, I mean, and they always tell you just to keep it drip going on the pipes anyways, if you have any outside, so that they don't burst.
Okay. Yeah, see,
I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that.
No, you're probably right. I'm just saying that's definitely like southwestern thing,
Yeah.
but in the Midwest, we never kept anything running. It just, everything.
And they're like, just throw a blanket over your plants and they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think that would fly in Connecticut, or would it? Do they do that there too?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. My a good buddy of mine had a fig tree, and so he would every winter he would cover it up with a tarp, and it survived. So, and it had figs every year. So,
Well, that's good. Although I
yeah,
don't eat
can,
pigs, but hey.
it depends on what the plant is. So obviously some plants are more resilient than others, but the fig tree would survive. But yeah, you just had to cover it up.
Interesting. But yeah, that's the only natural disaster I've lived through.
That's the only thing I can think of that I've ever been through.
Yeah.
That like major. I mean, I've been in some bad storms, but
Well, you had one right across your house with you had the, what do you call that? It's like, man, I can't even think.
microburst?
Microburst. There we go. It knocked all those
Yeah.
trees down.
yeah. It knocked a tree down across the street. Yeah, you're right. Right into that apartment building. Fortunately, I don't have any large trees right outside my apartment.
Uh-huh. But the microbursts are pretty crazy here, but that's pretty much all you get.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy lightning here.
Yeah, that too.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I remember visiting my family in Kentucky one year. This is when I was growing, when I was a kid. But they had tornadoes down there that summer that we went. I don't know, it might have been 93 or 94, somewhere around there. And that was pretty cool because my uncle actually had like a cellar. And so we all went down into the cellar and just kind of camped out down there and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Sounds
I don't
like
think
fun.
it was for me as a kid. It was very
You're
fun.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the adults didn't feel the same, but for me, I was like, oh, this is great. Because I remember he took me out on his tractor and the clouds, like at a distance, you saw like this wall of black clouds, like super dark. And we're talking it's like 2 in the afternoon. So the sun should be out and shining bright and everything, but you just saw this wall of clouds that you couldn't see through. And he was like, yeah, it's going to be a storm. We better go ahead and head back. Because that tractor was super slow, too. And he had a large field and all this property. And I feel like it took us like an hour to get back home. But then the storm had caught up with us and passed us. And it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
That was more fun than anything. But
Yeah, well, my grandma showed me Twister when I was younger, so
oh, yes, I
I
used to love
was
that movie.
deathly scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die in a Twister. Little did I know it was about people chasing after storms, not
Right,
just accidentally
exactly.
coming into it.
Yeah, exactly. They were chasing after him. That was funny. That was a good movie.
Yeah. I don't remember it too much. I just remember, aren't they like holding onto some pipes and like almost getting sucked into the tornado?
At the very end, yeah. Yeah, at the very end. Because they're trying to release, they have like this little trash can thing that looks like R2D2 a little bit. And it has
it's
those little
supposed to stop
things
the
inside of it.
storm.
No, it's like these little devices, like these little tiny sensors that are inside this big trash can.
Mm-hmm.
And what they try to do is they get the trash can into the middle of the storm, and it opens up and releases all those little tractor things so that they can read the storm, the tornado. They're studying it and research. Yeah, so that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to release the sensors into the funnel.
Sounds
And in order to do it, you have to leave the thing like in the path of the tornado. That sounds like a genius idea.
Yep, some people like golfing, some people chase tornadoes.
Exactly.
Never catch me doing that. You'll never catch me doing that. And I've done a lot of crazy stuff.
Well, the tornadoes will probably chase you into it.
Like, no! Please! Yeah, well, I mean, we have earthquakes here every now and then, but those are like very minor.
You know what? We have had some, but I've never felt any since I've been here. But we have had some that people were talking about. The other people have felt it, but I've never personally, since I've been in Tucson, felt any type of earthquake.
And there's these mysterious booms that happen every now and then.
Yeah, but I don't know how mysterious those really are. I think we all know what that is.
One time I was having a conversation with someone, and I hate it when people do this to me, but they do it to me all the time because I say some pretty outlandish things.
True.
I don't mean to, but that's the only stuff I retain. But there was a sonic boom that happened over Tucson, and it blew out the windows at a thrift store that was on Pima and Swan, or Pima and Craycroft, I think it is. It blew out the windows there, and I was telling someone that, and they were like, "That wouldn't happen," and I was like, "Why not?" They're like, "It's illegal. You can't go that fast over cities."
It
And I
is
was like,
illegal, but
"Yeah, but it happened." And I was like, "I don't think that happened," and I like didn't have my phone or something. I didn't look it up, or I couldn't look it up. I was like, "Okay, well, I guess it didn't happen," but it happened. It happened.
yeah, there's supposed to be regulations in place so that that does not happen. But living near an Air Force base too, you never know. I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently there was a plane that crashed in like 1978 near the U of A. So after that, they changed the flight patterns in this area so that it wouldn't be going over residential areas, I think.
Oh, but here's what's funny though. I just was looking up something real quickly, and there's this article that says, "Boom! What was that? Mysterious sonic boom shakes Tucson this morning." This was in this. No, I'm serious. That's what it says. But the Air Force Base claims that it wasn't them. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious.
Guys, it wasn't us, okay? Case
They said it
closed.
was not. They said it was not us. But yeah, when you live near an Air Force base, it's bound to be mysterious, random noises.
Yeah. Well, one time I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, man, I'm so happy we live here because there's no natural disasters here. And someone's like, yeah, well, if they're going to bomb anything, they're just going to bomb the Air Force Base and you live like 5 miles away from that. And I was like, oh, that's a good thought.
But you were still right, because that's not a natural disaster. That's a man-made disaster.
Oh, comforts me.
Exactly. You should be comforted by that.
I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Thanks for
Well, I
opening
don't.
my eyes.
Yeah, I don't. Well, you know what? You can never say never, but I would think that you wouldn't be allowed to even get that close, because just think, Tucson is not on the. It's not like we're right on the ocean. You would think L.A. would be a target before Tucson would be.
Yeah, and people can't even get in Capitol Hill either. That's. So
Right, of course.
nothing could ever happen here, Aaron.
I didn't say I couldn't. I was just saying I don't think we're significant enough to be the target of.
Like, okay, guys, apparently they just are walking into Davis. Oh, they're getting in planes now. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Well, you know what? Honestly, anything can happen. I wouldn't put it past them, but I just don't see. I would be more afraid of if as far as that being a fear of being
Oh, it's
bombed
not
or
a
anything.
fear, Aaron. It's just the reality, like car accidents.
I'm just saying, LA has a better chance of getting bombed than Tucson. That's
You
all
heard
I'm
it
saying.
here, folks. It's
Yeah,
a threat.
so I would move out of LA as soon as you can. Hey, a lot of people are leaving California though, and coming here, which is why the cost of everything keeps going up. But
Woot, woot. Oh, yeah.
story for another day.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I always tell people that my one joke when I was driving for Uber was I would always tell people the best thing to do in Tucson is to go to California. 8 hours away, you're at the beach.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too. But apparently a lot of people are figuring that out, and so they're coming here.
Like, yay. More business for me,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Well,
It's all the ritzy people buying $1 million houses.
I know, driving up the cost of everything.
Well, not only
My-
that, but the richer you are, the bigger the window is in your bathroom. Just know that, Aaron.
That may, yeah, but yeah,
It's
that-
like
I don't-
really uncomfortable.
I don't have a window in my bathroom,
Then
so
there you go, Aaron.
I'm not rich.
I'm like clean
But my
windows.
rent has gone up
It's
like
gone
how much? Like $300 since I've been here.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I clean windows in
Ridiculous.
like big old houses, And sometimes I'm like, oh, can I use your restroom? And then you go in there and it's like this huge window and you're just like, ugh, gosh, this is really uncomfortable.
Well, usually the windows have that outside glass where you can't see through it.
Do you think that's what I'm talking about, Aaron? They're huge windows in their showers.
Oh, in the shower.
Well, it's like in front of the shower or something, and then like the toilet's kind of there, and you're just like,
You don't have to clean those, do you?
the windows next to
Yeah.
showers? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you clean all the windows. Why would you not clean those windows?
I don't know.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Rich people have giant windows in their showers. And they don't care who sees, I guess.
Nice.
I'm glad. So we've talked about hand glove musics. We've talked about natural disasters and our experience with them. We've talked about bathroom windows. Now we're going to talk about what everyone else wants us to talk about, Aaron.
All right.
So
Let's do it.
I put a little poll out, like I said. If you don't even have to use Instagram, but just email us anyways. If you want to suggest a topic, you can email us. I know some people don't use social media because, I mean, technically, I don't really even have a personal one because I can't like mentally handle everyone's lives anymore. But
Right.
it is interesting to have this one though because people can ask us about things they want us to talk about. So I did this 2 weeks ago, and we've released like several episodes since then, I think. And so I'm not sure if people gave up. But so the first one was a response from somebody, and they put no. But I think it was because I separated the two posts by accident. And so it just said type something instead of having a question about it. So I don't think they fully, because I think they missed the first one, because a lot of times people will just put no. And I think
Okay.
the second person missed it as well because they put Kitu Fulani, which means something in Swahili. And so I think they missed that because then they typed something. And then the third person, I think, also missed the whole point of it because they also typed something. So I'm trying to make it now so that people know what we're asking when I put the posts on there.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
So the first one is a listener wanted us to talk about the total eclipse of art, which I don't think we're going to talk about this episode, but we did want to dive into what crypto art was, which was also something someone else wanted us to talk about.
Well, yeah, let's save that for another episode because I don't know enough about it to comment just yet. Um, you probably know more than I do at this point.
Well, I mean, it all starts with symbols on cave walls or whatever they say, and it transcends time where you have, different ways of creating color, and then now you can just digitally create it. And it's just so weird because you want to know where it's going next. And crypto art might be that. If everything is digital and you're getting more connected and there's more things coming out, it would make sense that the art would also reflect that. But how do you keep the value in something that can be copied so easily, such as a digital item?
And that's where the crypto art comes from, the NFT thing. You're supposed to be able to like create something and keep it like your creation and be able to track it and track where it's used at. That's just the basics. Just like I said, I don't know as much.
But even with art, like when they're like people who copy famous paintings, that's interesting too. Because then you have to ask, what is the value in it? If someone
Right.
else can create something you can create, then where's the value put at? So it just shows that art is both valueless and valuable, both at the same time. It's very odd.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the total eclipse of art. Oh, I'm sorry. You put the total eclipse of fart.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was about to say, like, really?
Okay, we have The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
I'll let you handle that one.
Well, as I said, with the whole Mars thing, that would continue on a new Industrial Revolution if it were to continue on that far. Would you or would you not agree with that?
Yeah.
So it is interesting that there's only progress being made while also at the same time they're digressing. So it is interesting because it's like we have progress and money, all the money is more and more and the stock market keeps going up. But during that time, things are like digressing in such a terrible way. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those situations where it's like, technology is a two-edged sword. And so while you can bring modern conveniences, right, and modern comforts that stemmed from that, right, the Industrial Revolution, the way manufacturing and stuff changed and everything like that. There's always a downside, which is the environmental effects, the pollution, the garbage that we emit into the environment nowadays. It all so yeah. Do we have a lot of modern comforts? Yeah, but at what cost? And so yeah, the consequences have been disastrous overall. Because here's the thing: a lot of the stuff that we can accomplish now, we are able to accomplish it in a way that does not destroy the environment, but due to greed and these really entrenched companies and businesses, it's kind of hard to shift to that cleaner way of doing things. So
yeah, which is awesome. That's great. This has been a pretty positive podcast so far.
I know, lots of doom and gloom.
Okay, here's a good one. I'll do the lighthearted one before we do the other one. Funny
Okay.
stories of miscommunications in your foreign language ventures. So I wouldn't say necessarily that I've always intentionally tried to learn Spanish, but I have tried to at least speak it a little bit. And one time I was at a house cleaning windows, and this was pre-pandemic, and there was some house cleaners there, and they were asking me a question about something, and I think they were she was asking me if I hired anybody because she was looking for a job for her nephew or something like that. And I said, "Oh no," I said, "I work with my husband." I said, I forget how I worded it, but I said esposo, and she was like esposa, and I was like, oh, esposa. But I always forget to do the O's and the A's in words, and that lends itself to, yeah,
Miscommunication. Well, at least she understood.
yeah.
She understood. I've already talked about my miscommunications, I think, haven't I?
Yeah, and they were pretty
So-
funny.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's probably not worth repeating. When I talked about the contact lens story, were we recording that or no?
The contact lens. Oh no.
Were
we
we
weren't
recording?
recording that one. No, we had
Okay.
ended and we were still talking to him. And
Okay. Okay, so here's one that's kind of funny. So, I was staying with some friends who didn't speak any English, and so we were hanging out in my friend's room playing games and stuff like that. So it was the three of us in there, and so I said, "Hold up, my eyes are kind of dry. I need to go take out my contact lenses." So, and this is all in Portuguese. So the word for lens and the word for milk are not, they're similar when it comes to someone who is not a native speaker, such as myself. So it's easy for someone to misunderstand what I said. And so what I said was I need to go take out my lenses, my contact lenses, but I just said my lenses and put on my glasses. And so I'll be right back. But one of my friends misunderstood me and thought I said I needed to go milk myself or take out milk. And so my other friend who understood what I had said realized that this guy didn't understand what he was talking about. So he went along with it. And he told him that, yeah, American guys have to milk themselves every day, every night. That's what he told him. And so when I come back in the room, my friend is like, oh, so you American guys have a problem? And he starts like gesturing around his chest. And I'm like, what? And my other friend just starts cracking up. I was like, so yeah. So what, and just to kind of clarify the story a little bit more, what I said was, eu preciso de tirar meus lentes.
Oh, lane cheese instead of
Lentes. But he thought I said, eu tenho que tirar leite, which is I need to go take out milk. And I said, no, I need to take out my lenses. So if I had clarified and said lentes de contacto, then it would have been clear that I was referring to contact lenses, but I didn't say that. I just said lenses. And so, which is probably not the common way to say it. So that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even when we were going over the letter you were writing the other day, it's just like it's written in a certain way, but you have to ask someone how to say it the right way.
Right, because I'm translating literally.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always translate correctly. So, yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, pretty much the only miscommunication I have is just smiling at people and like saying "see" because I don't know what they're saying. And like a lot of people will be really nice to me when I'm cleaning windows. Like I would clean windows at this store and they would be like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, so and so. And I'm like, yeah, see. And they're like, oh,
Right.
okay. Like thumbs up. And then they just walk off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really wish I could talk because they were really nice. And whenever people speak to me in English, the only thing they say is like, oh, you missed a spot. Ha 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 ha. You're like, shut up.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I have to send you a video that's pretty funny. It is a language miscommunication, so it does fall under the topic. You may have seen this, but anyway, I just sent it to you. So,
Do you want me to play it right now? Or later?
sure. If you, you can play it now.
Okay. Oops. Let me see. How can I? Oh. Technical difficulties. It's another round of technical difficulties with two crazy scoops. Who's gonna ruin it this week? Will it be me or will it be me? Oh, turns out it's me.
Well, I texted to you, so it's.
I got it. We're not putting this on the what stupid thing, you idiot! You fool! My goodness! Guy.
Finish it though.
No, I'm not gonna finish the video, Aaron. That's not the kind of humor we do on this podcast.
I'm sorry.
You were my brother, Aaron. I trusted you. You were supposed to bring balance to the podcast, not destroy it. Oh, Aaron's muted himself. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, but that was hilarious.
Oh, man. I am no longer watching any videos you send.
Hey, it fit the description of miscommunication.
It did. It did. And for the person who asked that, I will definitely send you the video. So I'm sure you'll find it just as funny as Aaron.
Your reaction was great. The video only played for 3 seconds and he stopped it. Oh my god, my stomach hurts.
Goodness.
My stomach hurts now. Okay. But anyway, hey, it's a funny miscommunication story, so I did my part.
It is very funny. Man. I don't know how much of your laughing I'm gonna be able to keep in here, but considering I don't edit anything out pretty much.
No, just you can edit. Just edit this entire section where I say, "Here, watch this." I'm just laughing at your reaction, but your reaction was perfect because you literally it was like 3 seconds in, and you were like. That's what got me. I thought you were at least gonna let it play for a few, 30 seconds. It was like 3 seconds in. He was like, "Nope."
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll move on now.
I think this episode has been like an hour long already.
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll cut that out. We need to wait. Hold up.
Let you drink some water, gain your composure, so we can start this episode anew.
we need one day. We need to release like lost episodes uncensored.
Oh no!
and put a compilation of all the stuff that we've cut over the years.
Most of it, you know what the funny thing is? Sometimes I pronounce a word a certain way and it sounds weird, so I just cut it out. And it's because when we were doing it over Zoom, like I would skip and it would like put together the front of a word and the end of a word, and it would just sound like really weird. That was mostly what I had to cut out.
Yeah. You probably said what like it made it sound like what that lady just said.
Yes, exactly. It did. Okay, so we have 3 more that we're gonna go over. Oh my gosh. So one of our listeners says, "Let's talk about this photo. It's nice. You can keep talking about cheese balls or crypto art." So you know how you can't read sarcasm, Aaron?
Yeah.
I have a hard time taking if this is sarcasm or not.
Oh, I don't know. Let's talk about this photo.
Well, the photo was a picture that I took when I was walking through New York early in the morning. It was like 5 in the morning.
And then what's with the comment with the milk, eggs, and bread? What does that mean?
Oh, he put, sorry, that last one was my shopping list. Which, to me, was a genuinely good joke. I laughed at it.
I think so, too. Milk, eggs, and bread. Those are the staples. You got to keep that in the house. That's my 2 cents on that.
And then, for some reason, someone asked, is the royal family racist? So we'll move on from that one. Because I have no opinion.
I do have a comment though. I do have a comment.
Oh, great!
It's not directly connected to the question, but it kind of is, and it had to do with the interview that they did with Oprah. I didn't watch it.
I don't care about it.
Well, no, I didn't watch it, but I did see some like clips that people had put together on YouTube. And what it sounded like is that she was complaining about the littlest tiny things, and Oprah was sitting there like, "Oh, yes, that had to be very difficult." I kid you not, one of the things that she had a hard time with, and I'm not even joking, was she was mad and she didn't know that she was supposed to curtsy in front of the queen. And she didn't know that. She was just like, "Ain't this your grandma? Why we got to do all that?" I was just like, "Oh, really?" So to me, it was kind of humorous, that interview, and just the stuff that they had to complain about was stuff that it was like rich people problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying it's funny. And how do you reconcile doing this podcast while like terrible things are happening in the world, Aaron? Like how can you manage to like sit here and laugh about stuff when there's like some of the episodes we recorded was like during that disaster in Texas, you know, like. It's just kind of funny because, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not super rich, but at least we're, like, here and, like, we can joke about stuff.
Yeah, well, so every platform obviously has a purpose, and our purpose is more so just to kind of add humor and make the best of a bad situation, you know, and that's our focus. Where our focus is not necessarily world commentary.
or crying on camera and being like, "Life is terrible, Aaron."
Yeah, exactly. That's not what we do. And so if this was a news podcast, or if this was a current events podcast directly, then that'd be a different story. But that's not what we do. We just have fun and just talk about lighthearted topics, because everyone doesn't want to think about deep things all the time. There's plenty of time for that.
Yeah, but it kind of feels weird though when like pretty big things are happening in your life, but then you're still like, I just want to joke about stuff, you know? Because I don't do the podcast just because my life's going like 100% great all the time. I just do it because it's fun.
Well,
and we can laugh about stuff.
Right, but like I said,
Coca-Cola.
Exactly. Like I said before, it's if someone who does experience something like that and they do want to share it, we're more than welcome to discuss it. But again, unless we go through it ourselves, we're not going to reach out to people and say, "Hey, you want to come on the podcast?" Because to me, that just seems kind of
disingenuous.
I can't think. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why it's weird to me. That's why I don't reach out to people and say, "Hey, you just went through this horrible ordeal. Why don't you come on our show and talk about it?" It's like, no.
Yeah, it's hard enough.
If you want to share, cool, we'll talk. But
yeah, it's hard enough getting people who just want to joke about stuff on the podcast, let alone talk about actual serious things.
Yeah. And again, the cool thing about this is that it's very, as a general rule, our podcast is pretty lighthearted. Sometimes we do talk about topics that can be considered a little bit more serious, but even then, it's not. It's usually just for a few minutes, and then
Remember
we kind of
that episode that me and you and A&A did, and like we just talked about 9/11, and then that was like pretty much it, and we just left, and I was like, "What the heck was the point of this podcast?"
Oh yeah,
it was like a weekend episode. We were like in a mood or something.
Yeah, but you know what? That was a short. But see, that was a short episode. It wasn't a full hour. How long was that episode? Like 15 or 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
It was a shorter episode. I think it was a weekend edition, like a coffee break type episode. I think, and so that was different. So yeah, I mean, we have our moments, but as a general rule, we try to keep it pretty lighthearted and just laugh. Life is serious enough. So when you get an opportunity to just sit back and relax and laugh a little bit, then I say go for it.
Go for it. Full throttle.
Laughter, exactly. Laughter is good medicine.
It's also terrible medicine if it's, what would you say? You asked us the question last week about if you could not stop laughing, or would you rather not stop laughing or not stop crying? So.
Yeah, I would laugh. I mean, I already do that, so.
Okay, we have one last topic. What have you learned about yourself after year one in pandemic? I've learned that I'm expendable.
And see, I've been trying to tell you that for years, but you wouldn't believe me.
All it took was a little virus.
Exactly.
They're like, "Hello, sir, you're still going to be working." It's like, but everyone's dying outside. Yeah, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I know, right? I saw a video, and it was like in Shrek with that king guy, and he's like, "Some of you may die, but it's a risk I am willing to take."
Willing to take, yeah. Exactly. Not too far from reality, too. I think, what have you learned about yourself after 1 year in the pandemic with multiple responsibilities instead of?
Oh yeah, someone else was like, we should ask a lot of people that, and I put it on the Instagram as a poll, but then I was like, I think this question's a little too heavy for like, because you're asking something kind of personal. It's hard to answer that question and try to find a funny response because it's so, for me, it's very difficult to be positive about that kind of a topic. Because it's like the things that you learned are like, oh, I can be pretty resourceful if it comes down to it, you know?
Well, the thing is, it leaves it open for you to share. So it can be something positive. It doesn't have to be a negative, topic.
Yeah, I'm like there's like a half glass full or half glass empty. I'm like the half glass broken kind of person.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that question I don't think that was necessarily a negative question to ask. And I don't think it would have brought in negative answers necessarily.
Oh, because I was like, am I like trying to be too artsy with this? Are we trying to get too deep here? Just seemed weird. But it's a good question. It is a good question.
Yeah. Um, I, but see, it's interesting because it asks, what did you learn about yourself, though?
That's kind of a hard one, though. You know, it's
That
kind of
is tough. I've learned a lot of things, but it wasn't necessarily all about just me.
yeah.
uh, um,
One thing is,
I it tested my ability to be able to adapt. That's
yeah,
one thing. That's one thing it did do, especially at work, because I was working at one of the few type of establishments that stayed open this entire time, which was a grocery store, and so you had to adjust, and you had to get used to dealing with people who were panicking, who were scared, and so it takes a lot to deal with something like that. So, but I mean, we have gotten through that phase of it, so you know, um,
I know. Like a lot of people are getting vaccines. I saw it. Like some guys in the park, they were giving themselves the vaccine the other day. It's pretty
I
interesting.
don't.
I would just say the side effects though look pretty terrible. They were like running in the street and stuff. I don't. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after the show. I'll explain to you a little bit more detail about what you saw. Was this Freedom Park? Yeah, we'll talk later.
But yeah, I mean it's been a rough time, but it's been fun too. I mean, not in general, but we've connected a lot with our friends from different areas, and I think just being able to see everyone that I know be resilient, even though is difficult. Everyone's dealing with it differently, but even though some are having a harder time than others, just seeing that they're sticking with stuff, you know. I think we're all kind of in that boat. And
Yeah,
everyone's so different, though, too, in their circumstances. So it's been an
right.
interesting experience to kind of talk to people about that.
Yeah,
But I would say, I mean, I've kind of like explored a lot of hobbies too. But
well, yeah, I have too. What's funny is that this podcast was something we started obviously before the pandemic, but it was a perfect thing to start when we did because a lot of people started podcasting during the pandemic too.
yeah, we
And it's
beat
like
the rush.
yeah, we did. We already had got started in it. And it's nice to be able to look back at the number of episodes that we have completed. And it's pretty cool accomplishment. So we obviously had to adapt the way we did our podcast. But what's cool about it is that we've taken our podcast in places that we probably, I don't know
Ever would
if
have
we would have
done.
ever explored this option. Because now, literally everyone that we know is an option. And, you know, to come
Well,
on to the show,
did you
which
even
is
know about
worth.
Zoom?
Yeah,
You knew
yeah,
about Zoom before this.
yeah,
I had never heard about it.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to think. So at work, we used Zoom at work when we did a lot of our conference calls. Although we weren't technically supposed to, we were supposed to because we were supposed to use. I forgot the name of the other program, but Amazon has their own. Each company has their own competing software.
Uh huh.
So we used to use Microsoft Teams, and then we
Okay.
used Zoom. But Zoom was usually more reliable, so we would use Zoom a lot of times. But we technically were supposed to use whatever the Amazon equivalent is. They have one too. I
Oh.
forgot what it's called, but you know, we were supposed to use their products. But
Actually, because we use Zoom all the time now, I forget the program I used to use before. But
yeah, Zoom, I mean Skype. A lot of people
Skype,
used to
that's what
use
I would
Skype.
use is Skype. Because I would,
Yeah.
when I worked for a computer company one time, I used to have to do remote access to people's computers just to show them how to do certain things. And that's all we used with Skype.
Yeah.
But
Well, man, this has definitely changed the game. So
we're taking this podcast to Mars.
we are, yeah,
To Mars.
and beyond.
Oh, man. Well, this has been Two Crazy Scoops. We'll end on a news article, Aaron. And
Okay.
consider this the best way to steal a car. Texas man drove BMW dealership loaner car to rob bank. Tried to use stolen money to buy BMW.
That's I'm trying to think. I mean, that's at least it's efficient. Like,
He was trying to cover his bases. He didn't want to just take off with the car. He wanted to pay it off.
right, exactly. He was trying to do things the right way. So I don't understand why that was news. I mean, don't you go to the bank and get money to pay for your car that you want?
So get a car, rob a bank, pay it off, and everything will be fine.
You know what's funny? I didn't even think bank robberies really... Like, why do bank robberies still even happen? Like, how
Well,
do they still happen?
I was watching this. Well, let me see. When's this? The year was March 11th, 2021. Yeah, bank robberies are interesting because I was watching a show one time about a guy who would go through all throughout and rob banks, but the most he ever got was like $2,000 to $4,000. This is saying he got $10,000.
But I thought they always put, like, when they give you money, I thought they put, like, that little ink pack or something in it so that it explodes all over the money so you can't take it. That's what I always thought.
Well, they didn't
That's
have
why
to
I
do
was
that with
like-
this guy because he just showed up at the car dealership and tried paying it off. While Warren
Yeah.
was in the dealership's finance office, an employee
you
received
say
a phone call.
Did you say his name?
It says Warren.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wasn't sure if you guys said his name or not. I was like, never mind. Okay, go ahead.
It says while Warren was in the dealership's finance office, an employee received a phone call informing him of the recent bank robbery. The employee realized that the vehicle used in the bank robbery matched the vehicle the dealership had loaned to Warren, and the employee alerted law enforcement.
Tattletale. Wait a minute. He just messed up his sale.
No, well, they completed the sale. It says that much. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. They
No,
did
no.
complete the sale. Okay.
It says-
So I'm like, I want my commission. I don't care where you got the money from. I want my commission. I'll call the police after you leave, but I want that sale. I need that bonus. Yeah, he gonna tattletale, big baby.
Okay.
That car, you robbed the bank.
You're never
I'm
going to be a car salesman, Aaron. You're banned from that.
I know.
Oh, man. Well, this is interesting. It says when Warren was arrested, he had more than $5,000 with him, and the serial numbers match those stolen from the bank. So I guess they keep track of what they're giving out. Which is a funny
Yeah.
question to ask. Why do bank robberies still happen when you pretty much know you're going to get caught at this point? Like, there's so many...
Yeah, because I'm sure they have money. I would bet that they have money set aside specifically for when people want to come take money. They probably give them certain bills.
Yeah.
You know, that would be my guess. There's certain bills that they give them. And like I said, I heard that when they gave them money, and again,
the ink thing.
yeah, it was ink. Yeah, that explodes over the money after you get so far from the bank. So that's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. but
They
that's
do
what I've
sometimes, but I think now maybe they don't do it because like people would just ask them to open it before so that it'll blow up on the person in the bank. But I don't know. I don't really know.
heard. I don't know.
I've never
I'm sure
robbed
they
a
got.
bank. We need to rob a bank, Aaron. We'll find out.
No, that's too late for that.
They're like, sorry, we don't have any money.
Yeah, like the technology of these days is way too advanced. If this was the 1930s, then I would be all over it. No cameras, no surveillance. All right, Antino, let's do this. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, this has been... Oh, I don't want to play that one. Actually, I don't even know which one I want to play. Nope. 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 Where is it? This is great radio. I lost the song, Aaron.
That's okay.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yep. This one's it. Yep. This has been Two Crazy Scoops podcast with your hosts, AO and Antino. Stay tuned with us for the next episode. It is going to be explosive, fiery, intense. There will be laughter. There will be screaming. I can't tell you why, but it will be pretty terrible on my end. Thanks to Aaron.
On both your ends.
I have to cut so much out of this episode, Aaron.
Come on. When people hear the next episode, they're gonna understand the joke.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I've avoided all these kinds of things up until now, so. Anyways, catch you guys next time.